When I was a young teenager, one day my parents brought home a dog. The dog didn't cost anything. It was a Fox Wire Terrier. He was already a year old, and I soon would find out why it didn't cost anything. He was the meanest dog you can imagine. And we lived at the time in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and the dog's name was Spotty. But he was anything else but a Spotty. He was a mean dog. For instance, he ran away. He didn't stay home. You could call him. He ran away anyway. You could give him orders. Spotty didn't listen. He did what he wanted to do. And then he had a bad habit of actually running to other dogs and biting them. He would have been a good case for a psychiatrist, I think. He bit every dog he saw. And I remember only one time that he came home with wounds. Probably was a huge dog. But he bit every dog. He was not a nice dog, not a good dog. But Spotty, he was my dog. And I liked Spotty. Bad behavior, not good. And finally my parents bought a fence. And so Spotty could be outside, and they didn't have to worry about him running away. But being a hound dog, he dug a hole under the fence, and one day he was gone. He was running away from us. And I was so worried about Spotty. I called him, Spotty, where are you? Please come home. Close by, it was a lake. The lake was known to have many, many poisonous snakes in it. And Spotty loved the water. I knew that. He loved the water. And I walked to the lake, and sure enough, there was Spotty swimming in the lake. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? If the snake bites him, he's going to be killed. So I called him out. Spotty, come out. He looked at me and kept on going. I tried to use my authority. I said, Spotty, if you don't come out right now, you're going to get it, or you're going to suffer. I don't know what I was going to do, but you have to act like you really, Spotty wouldn't listen. So then I tried the other extreme. I was very nice. I said, Spotty, if you come home, I have something nice to eat for you, so please come home. It didn't work either. Spotty did what he wanted to do. He liked to go swimming. He liked the water. On the way, he probably got in fights with the dogs, bit them. He was not a good dog. But Spotty was my dog. And I liked Spotty. He was my dog. So when he was swimming in the water, I didn't know what would happen. Would he come home again? Would he be alive? Would the snakes bite him? And of course, this story is a similar kind of, we can compare this to the story Jesus told about the two sons in Luke chapter 15, I think it is, where the youngest son took the inheritance and used the money and had a good life. He asked the father for his inheritance. Now, according to the Jewish law, he did not have the right to receive that inheritance. Only the older son did, but the father was good and gave him all the money. So the youngest son had a great life. He spent all the money he had. He invited people. He had a lot of friends. Of course, he had a lot of friends because he paid for everything. And they probably got drunk and they wasted the money and thought this would go on forever. And but then one day the money ran out, and the son began to think, what am I going to do? And the Bible says that he even lived with the pigs. He said to himself, I will go home to my father and I will ask forgiveness for my bad behavior. And I would say, Father, if you have any job for me, I will take the dirtiest, the lowest job you have, and I'll be willing to obey you completely. And so he walked home, not knowing what was going to happen. And when he came close to the house, he saw his father standing there, waiting for his son, and smiling. His son was coming home. And the son ran to his father, and the father ran to the son, and they hugged each other. My son was lost, but he has come home again. It's the same in our life, isn't it? Sometimes we go our own way. The Father's waiting. He's saying, I'm waiting for you to come back. And I know some of you have gone your own ways, but we have a loving Father, a loving, loving Father. And so then, of course, you know the rest of the story. They had a big party, and the older son got jealous because he said, well, hey, I've been obedient and done a good job. He doesn't give me a party like that. And actually, I understand him. I probably would have reacted the same self-righteous way. Here I am doing everything, and my son, my brother runs away from home, does what he wants to do, and he gets this big party. Well, I want to end the story with Spotty. Did Spotty come home again? He sure did. I waited, and late at night he finally came, filthy dirty, and I should have given him a lecture. I should have said, bad dog, just for that you're not going to get any food to eat for a week, and you're going to stay in the house. I didn't do it. I was so happy to see my Spotty, and I hugged him, even though he was filthy dirty, and even though he was a disobedient dog. And it's the same with us. And the Father is there waiting for you, and he says to you, welcome home, my son or my daughter. I'm so glad you came back home again.